I want you to imagine the greatest moments in your life. A wedding, birthday, child being born, walking on the beach.
Oh, here goes back.
Now imagine none of it ever existed.
What's going on? How we doing?
Good, how you doing, Alex?
I'm doing great.
Thanks for doing this. I know it's a great story, and we're excited to have you be a part of it. And so I'm going to start you off with some simple questions about Robert DuBoise. The first one is just, how did you hear about Robert's story?
Yeah, I heard about Robert's story. Ali Marpet sent it over to me.
Kinda was just in the group text. Ali stumbled upon the article and kind of shot it into the group. And, you know, it was just like, this is exactly what we, you know, talk about on our social justice board.
Yeah, I mean, so the headline is Tampa man exonerated for murder after 37 years, likely won't receive compensation due to Florida law.
Again, he's found not guilty after 37 years in jail, yet he's still not entitled to compensation for that. It's unbelievable to me.
Now for the story, and Jim Larson in Tampa. Jim, what happened?
John, just a short time ago, Judge Harry Lee Coe sentenced the convicted killer to death in Florida's electric chair.
My biggest desire in life was to possibly join the Air Force like my dad did, maybe later become a firefighter as my grandfather did, and of course to be married, have children, and have my own house. That was the ultimate dream for me. But that wasn't the case, of course.
And it was a tough situation for you, there's no question about it.
You don't know how tough it is.
Now, Robert DuBoise will take up a seat on Florida's death row, and we'll be on this case throughout the duration.
So kind of walk me through that then. You get to jail, and then what happens?
It's like when you walk up this ramp and you see this big, huge building, it's like a feeling of gloom. They chained me and handcuffed me and shackled me and walked me down the long stretch of hallway. I entered a cell on death row and they slammed the door behind me. I just sit there, I stared at the wall for a long time. Eventually, I finally fell asleep, but I kept hoping that I would wake up and find out it was just a bad dream.
This was the murder case of my daughter, Barbara Grams. And as for the verdict, I am very happy with the verdict.
I know I didn't do it. I just had to live with this anguish inside my head that, you know, this is actually happening to me.
Robert was in there for 37 years, which is 10 more than I've been around, so.
You asked what moments I would miss. I would miss my whole life right now.
Getting my degree in college, I would have been missed. Getting drafted, seeing my daughter born. It's a lot, honestly.
Day after day, I just sit there sometime late at night and I think about my family and I would think about the people around me. You get to know people, you know? And as you get to know them, they take them to death watch and you don't see them anymore. I just thought, you know, this is really hopeless. So then I had to start focusing on trying to prove my innocence.
On April 28th, 2006, we received a letter from Robert, who at that point had been incarcerated for almost 23 years. In his letter, he wrote, "I really am innocent, and I desperately need help in proving it."
I always had a goal in life, and that is to have a wife and children. I know I'm still young enough to meet this goal.
If only I could get someone to read my case and see that I'm telling the truth and help me.
That's kind of heartbreaking, right?
Yeah, it is.
Once they got involved and took your case, what chances did you think you had of eventually being exonerated?
Once I met Susan Friedman, I knew right then that I was going to be free and she was going to prove my innocence.
On August 18th, 1983, in the late evening hours, a young woman had been raped and murdered. During the course of the autopsy, the medical examiner, he noticed that there was a mark on her left cheek. He suspected that it may be a bite mark. In fact, this bite mark was the reason that Robert was arrested.
Bite mark evidence is a forensic science that we know has troubles in terms of its validity.
We had a forensic odontologist review the evidence. What we learned is that it wasn't even a bite mark.
Nobody in their wildest dreams today could make a conclusion that there was a specific person that made this injury.
In fact, with additional DNA testing, Robert was excluded and we identified who actually committed the crime.
Come over, we'll work, Robert, come over here, we got some...
Did you ever think you'd see this day, Robert? What's going through your head?
I said it's a beautiful day. I thank God for it. It's a beautiful day.
The state wrongfully took 37 years away from Robert, which included 3 years on death row and about 2,673 days in solitary confinement. He missed birthdays, holidays, and the births of his nieces, nephews, and other loved ones. Robert has steadfastly maintained his innocence, and after 37 years, the world finally knows his truth.
A year is different from 37 years. 5 years is different from 37 years.
I couldn't even begin to comprehend how much can change over that period of time.
They wanna take it from me. They wanna take it from me. They wanna take it from me.
My first thought after reading this story was I need to hear his opinion, hear his thoughts and his perspective.
Robert, I think we can hear you, but I don't think we can see you, bud.
Oh, you can't see me?
Negative. No.
Hold on 1 second. Oh, I see you now. I got you.
You see us, great.
I got you all right there.
How about that? Go.
How y'all guys doing?
Unfortunately, he wasn't able to receive any type of compensation. We just felt like we needed to do something to kind of help him get back on his feet.
We had reached out to the Innocence Project about if we were going to give him some sort of money, if we were going to lift him up some way.
I know we have the social justice project here with the Buccaneers that'll match those funds. So I said I'll definitely get in on that.
We figured that the money could be used for rent or for a car that would be able to help with employment. Those were things that we think were most likely to be able to help lift him up.
Hopefully this helps you in the short term, And then also, I don't know if you've ever been to a Bucs game, but we do have 4 tickets for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you're free, we got 4 tickets for you.
What? I will be there.
All right, we look forward to you being there.
Never been to a football game or a stadium or anything like that, so just having the freedom to be here and that they reached out and showed their love and asked me to come. That's really special to me.
When we were coming out from the tunnel, he was right above us in the tunnel, and you could tell just how happy he was.
I don't even think he recognized me or even knew who I was at first until I yelled. I'm like, yo, Robert, what's up? You just see him smile and everybody with him, and it was a great time.
That was really cool for me to hopefully bring a little joy to this guy,
It would be totally justified for him to be upset, pissed off, and I think that the most surprising thing for me was his just gratitude for freedom.
I was at a place where I couldn't even touch a tree. There was no trees. There's no flowers. And half the time there's not even grass. But now on the positive side, I just had to say, you know what? God's gonna get me through this. And he did.